Okay, so in this video you're going to discover how to write the perfect email for your link building outreach campaign. Now, if you want to learn how to write an email that generates over 200 backlinks, which I actually did with one email campaign, then this video is definitely for you. You also discover some of the rookie mistakes most people make, why most outreach emails actually go to the spam inbox, and how to really optimize your copy to make sure you get as many links and as many high quality backlinks as possible from your link building outreach. So let's be honest, 99% of outreach emails actually suck. Most of them go to the spam inbox, most of them get, ignored by webmasters. And when you're doing link building outreach, you're actually competing with, potentially 10 or 20 other people who are landing in the inbox that single day. So it is really difficult if you don't have the right knowledge to optimize your email campaign. And that's what we're going to cover in this video. Okay. Now, by the way, if you want more traffic, if you want to build more links, if you want to learn the secrets of link building outreach, then don't forget to subscribe to this channel because I'll be releasing new guides and videos every single week. By the way, just a little bit about me. I'm Julian Goldie. I'm a full-time white hat link builder. This is my work profile actually, you can see in front of you here. And yeah, I've worked on dozens of link building campaigns. I mostly focus on the skyscraper technique, and link building outreach is what I do full time. So yeah, now let's get into the video. Okay, so there's a ton of mistakes people make when they're doing link building outreach, and email is one of the things that most people get wrong. Okay, so I'm going to run through a couple of really bad examples of link building outreach and what you can do to avoid these sort of rookie mistakes that people make. Okay, so here's the first example, as you can see on the screen, and yeah, it's pretty bad. Let's be honest. Okay. So let's start with the subject line. The subject line has some weird file name in it here, and it's named content contribution request. It's really bad. Okay, this is not what you should do when you're trying to write a subject line for an email. Whether that's with link building outreach or whether it's with sales or whatever, you want to pique a little bit of curiosity, and this email definitely doesn't do it. If you were scrolling through your inbox and you saw this subject line, most of the time webmasters are going to delete it. Okay. The other thing is as well, this email, as you can see here, is sent with MailChimp, which is not software you should be using for cold email outreach. If you're going to use software, use something like Lemlist, like MailChimp, or Pitchbox is another good example. But don't be using MailChimp because it's not designed for that. It's designed for inbound marketing. It's not designed for cold email outreach. Okay. All right. This is pretty embarrassing as well. They actually got the mail merge wrong. So you can see it says first name. It should say my name or my co-founder's name on the website. So yeah, straight off the bat, it's pretty bad. The other thing I'd say, I don't know if you can see here on the screen, but there's a slight background here, and that basically means the design has a formatting. Okay, so when you're doing cold email outreach, you actually want to keep your emails in plain text, because if you use formatting and design and that sort of thing, it's a signal that you may be sending a promotional campaign. Okay, and if you're sending a promo, then it's more likely to land in spam. It's more likely to land in the promotions tab on Gmail. What you really want to do is just send a plain text email, which you can do with Lemlist or Mailshake or that sort of software. Okay, the text is kind of ironic here, like the copy. I'm sure you get a ton of spammy link submissions on your site. Okay, this email is quite spammy in itself, so it's a little bit awkward in that way. And yeah, also other things as well, you want to avoid like using exclamation marks, because spam filters can pick up certain characters, and if they see like exclamation marks or the word free or any sort of signals like that, the email service provider will usually mark it as spam. And you can see there's an exclamation mark here, there's one here too. Yeah, it's just really poor all around. They also got the mail merge wrong here. Should say my name again. It's bad. Don't do this, people. Don't do this to yourself. Alright, next one. Okay, again, the subject line is pretty bad. Do you allow contribution to your blog? It's grammatically wrong. It should be contributions. You can see that G Suite actually marked it as spam straight away when they saw the email. You see here it comes up with this grey banner here. Also, sent from a gmail.com account, which you really shouldn't do. If you're gonna do cold email outreach, do it properly and do it with a G Suite account, because your email deliverability will be much higher with G Suite versus gmail.com. Also, if you do cold email with gmail.com, first of all, you're not going to look very legit because you're not sending from a company URL. But also, if you're sending a lot of emails from gmail.com, then you're probably going to get your account blocked because it's a free account. Gmail doesn't like it, and yeah, it's an easy way to get your account blocked. Now let's move on to the actual copy of the email. All right, so my name is, and I'm content manager. Okay, that's not that bad. Hi. It's a little bit generic. Like, there are ways you can grab someone's attention much better than just saying hi. Okay. Blah blah blah. Right. Now here's some topics I've suggested. First of all, this is a guest post outreach email. I would recommend using the skyscraper technique. It's much more efficient. You don't have to keep producing, when you're doing guest posting, you have to keep producing new content. It might not get approved for a while, it might not get posted by a webmaster for a while. If you're using the skyscraper technique, you just create one piece of content and you build all the links to that. So it's much more time efficient, it's much more scalable, and you don't have to wait for webmasters to approve your content and make some edits to it and that sort of thing. Yeah, it's also kind of rude. It's a little bit rude. So, so instead of saying let me know, I should say please let me know. There's no thank you or anything like that. It also says I would need a courtesy back to my website in the form of a link. Okay, you would need or you want. It's a little bit rude, and there's definitely ways to be much more charismatic and much more polite in your email copy. Yeah. It's really boring, it's really generic, it looks like a template, it doesn't look good. So yeah, that's some of the mistakes people can easily make and quite often make when they're doing lead building outreach. Now, by the way, I don't want to say like I'm perfect at writing cold email, there's no such thing, but I can definitely give you some pointers in the way of how to optimize your campaign. And just so you can see some of the results I'm getting, this is a campaign I've sent out previously. You can see a 69% open rate, which is pretty high. Usually it's around 40 or 50%. And you can see a 33% reply rate to my cold email campaign. That's pretty decent. If you look at the average link building campaign now for skyscraper technique, I'd say the reply rate is usually around 8 to 10%, if that sometimes. So this just gives you an idea of some of the results I'm getting from recent campaigns. Now, here's an example of some of the reactions I get as well. So some people absolutely love the outreach I do, they appreciate it. This is another one. They said they usually delete these request emails, but because of the humor that I threw in and the type of email copywriting I was using, they actually responded to it. So email copywriting, if you get it right and if you nail it, then it makes a huge difference, and you will get a lot more replies, you'll get a lot more results, and you'll get more links out of it, which is the main, that's the goal of your campaign. So even like a 10% increase, a 10% improvement in your copywriting will make a huge difference to your results, especially if you're doing that over the course of a year. So let's get into some of the examples of campaigns I've used previously, okay? So this email campaign right here is an SEO beginner's guide. So that's what I was promoting in the skyscraper campaign. And yeah, it actually built a ton of links just to this one piece of content. So you can see like the subject line, it's pretty conservative really. It's nothing crazy, but it does describe what what the email's about. It's not spammy, it's not salesy. If webmaster sees it, okay, they know what the email's about, and they're not going to be misled when they read it, which means when they're not going to be annoyed, they're not going to be irritated by the email. They know exactly what it's about when they're clicking on it, okay? And as I showed before, like a 69% open rate is actually pretty damn high for an email outreach campaign. Now, let's sort of dissect the elements of the email, and I'll show you some of the techniques I've used, okay? So first of all, if you don't know what this is a mail merge. So if I don't have the name for the person, then it will say bacon instead, okay? And yeah, you can see like it's got the competitor name, the URL, etc. All right. So first of all, rather than the generic hi or hey or how you doing, that sort of thing, I'm included how's it shaking bacon, and yeah, it's straight off the bat. It's kind of funny. I'm not saying I'm hilarious, by the way. You know, you're allowed to cringe if you're reading this, but it does get a reaction from webmasters, and it does grab their attention straight away. And that's exactly what I want to do. You know, when they're in their inbox and this email pops up, they're going to see a slight preview, and the first thing they're going to see is how's it shaking bacon. Okay, now moving on. What I like to do to get a reaction from webmasters is to include certain puns and jokes throughout the campaign and keep it on theme to the content. So this is a beginner's guide to SEO, and I've tried to include some SEO related puns throughout the copy, which just makes it a bit different. It differentiates the copy from other campaigns that webmasters are going to see, and therefore it's going to improve the reaction to it. Okay, so things like white hat, yeah, SEOs would say, okay, that sort of thing. Yeah, these sort of elements, they differentiate your content. The other thing you can see from the email campaign is that it's very clean, and you know, there's not loads of bulky paragraphs. Actually, there's nothing longer than one line across the whole content, so it's pretty clean, it's pretty easy to read, you can scan through it very quickly, and it's also straight to the point and direct. Okay, the other thing I'd say that I've done is that I've made it win-win. So you can see from the other two campaigns, they didn't offer anything in return. So if I'm going to spend my precious time adding a link on my website to your content, I want to know a good reason why. Because if I get 20 emails or 30 emails or 40 emails from other websites asking me to add content, I'm not going to have time to do all of that. And actually, I'm going to be pretty annoyed if people keep asking me. So if you can make it win-win, and you can make, you know, if you can offer like a social media share, if you can offer maybe a promotion on your email newsletter for the webmaster, maybe even you could offer, you know, chuck in a free back massage, whatever you have to do to get the link in. But whatever you do, just make it win-win. And then therefore it's a fair trade-off, and you know, you're going to, straight off the bat, you're building a good relationship with the people you're contacting. Other stuff as well, like I've just kept it really informal and lighthearted. So you can see like, okay, how's it shaking? Fantabulous resource, jump for joy, hasta luego. All these elements of the email copy are ways of keeping your email really informal. And that's good because then you don't sound too robotic. You actually sound like a human rather than some sort of link building robot that's just demanding links. And yeah, it keeps the tone of the email very lighthearted. Okay. Now, the other thing I'd say as well is that when you're creating an email campaign, you want to have like some follow-up messages as well afterwards, okay? So this is step 3. This is actually, you know, I send a follow-up after 5 days and then one final follow-up after another 5 days. Okay, so what you can do in your emails, in your email follow-ups, is include a joke or something like that. Like it's not groundbreaking, but it definitely makes a difference, okay? So keeping it on theme again with SEO, say what did the victim say to the stalker, as you can see there, because I'm chasing them for a link, I keep messaging them, and it's kind of ironic in the copy that I've talked about an SEO stalker. Okay, so yeah, other things as well, like peace out. It's just a better way of saying, you know, thank you or see you later, rather than the generic stuff that everyone else is sending. So the other thing as well is on this final follow-up, I've made sure the webmaster knows I'm not going to keep messaging them, keep bombarding them with emails every single week. You can see I've put, if not, don't worry, this is the last email you get from me. So if they're not interested, it's okay, I'm not going to email you and keep chasing you for a link. So yeah, that's basically it. It's very simple and it's very easy, but it's also very easy to get wrong. So don't just keep yapping on and demanding links and that sort of thing. Keep it straight to the point. Don't waste anyone's time. Keep it lighthearted. Be informal, and yeah, you should see much better results. Okay, so that pretty much wraps it up for this email copywriting for link building outreach video. Basically, I just want to summarize. So when you're writing your email, keep it short, follow up, engage the webmaster, and use plenty of humor too, okay? What you definitely don't want to do when you're writing an email outreach campaign is you don't want to be rude. You don't want to steal value from people. You've got to make sure it's win-win. You don't want to keep yapping on and on. So you can see from the first couple of bad examples I used that there were tons of paragraphs and there was a lot of extra stuff that people were talking about that they didn't need to. And just whatever you do, make sure it's interesting and fun to read. Don't make it boring, because if it's boring, it won't grab attention. It won't be interesting for someone, and it just makes it much easier to ignore. Okay? By the way, if you need any help with link building outreach, then just comment below with your questions or email me via me@juliangoldie.com. I'm always happy to help. I'm always happy to talk about link building. I'm a bit of a geek like that. But yeah, feel free to ask any questions and I'll be happy to help. Alright, thanks for watching.